Hello, everyone. Final V3. We're doing another questions episode.
Yes.
And we talk about creative shit. Last Hazard asks, video game Q&A, or QA, taught me the value of coworkers in the trenches.
Man, off to a fantastic start already.
I assume you're familiar with that feeling. Were you ever on a team that developed strange or favorite coping mechanisms for long work hours? While at Activision Publishing, we on night shift would have intermittent Smash tournaments on our breaks.
This is a really dangerous question.
Expound upon this.
I feel like if I answer this too much, I'm just like providing people with ways to cope with an unhealthy way of living.
Mm-hmm.
Like this, you shouldn't be in this position to begin with. So like, if I tell you, like, here's how I make banging my head against a wall hurt a little less. It's like, well, that maybe you should stop the first part.
You're afraid you're like arming people?
Yeah, so it's like it doesn't quite feel like this, but it almost feels like encouragement.
Mm-hmm. The problem is that it either sounds fun in isolation or it just is really funny because you're so fucking far gone by the point. So
right.
But
like even by saying that, Sam,
yeah,
you are romanticizing it.
It's
and
fun.
I'm with you on that because it is fun to hurt yourself sometimes, but let's not joke about the fact that that's what it is.
I'm sorry.
That's what's happening.
I thought this was fucking America, the country where we like jump off of cliff sides into giant pools wearing a little like inflatable pool ring for fun. All right. I didn't realize
Mission Impossible in theaters now.
Mission Impossible in theaters now. Tom Cruise, I can't believe he didn't succeed in fucking dying. That's his coping mechanism. Like, at the end of the day...
his coping mechanism is trying and failing to kill himself on camera every year.
That's the only way that he can wear so many hats on that production. It's that and the power of Scientology.
Xenu is real and Cruise is the proof.
Yeah. But what comes to mind immediately is... there was this, I forget if it was like a console build process or there was something at the end of a production where it was down to the fucking wire, but we weren't all crunching to work. We were crunching to click a button and stare at a progress bar and pray that it went faster than it looked. Just repeatedly over and over to test some fix for something that wasn't reproducing the edit or whatever.
Right.
And there is an audio file called clownmusic.mp3, and it's probably copyrighted, but I'll send it to Billy anyway. It is the circus song that you think of when you think of a circus song, and we just played that a lot.
I would actually like. I would get violent.
Under any other circumstances, that would have made us worse, but in that context, it felt like some validation that we were making the environment around us feel as crazy as we did. It felt like alignment. Equilibrium.
I'm getting angry just thinking about it. Like legitimately, I would have to leave the room. I would be too angry if I heard that playing while I was that far gone. It would be bad.
It was real. It's happened on multiple projects.
Wow.
With different people. It's a recurring theme.
I remember when I was working with Billy, where we had to pull an all-nighter to get the Dying Light animation out on time. Sorry, Billy. That was just my fault. But fucking, I think by the time it was like 4 or 5 a.m., we were spending about as much time working / waiting for things to render as we were like just reading about Imagine Dragons. And that's the night I learned that, what's his name? Give me a second.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yeah. 3 of the 5 core band members are all called Dan or Daniel. And I felt fucking crazy because I was just like, they could have called the band Imagine Daniel. and like, that was the funniest fucking thing I had ever said at 5 a.m.
That's, wow. It really, dude, fucking loading screens bring out the worst in us. Holy shit.
Yeah, it's not good.
Like, that is the common thread because there's so many other...
I painted this picture of like, dude, do you think whenever Daniel got on the mic, like, first things first, good, fucking Daniel behind the window was like, holy shit, Daniel, you got to hear this.
Yeah.
And that was like, I was crying at that thought. And it's not that funny. But
it's really fun, dude. I was on a current project. So this is like when you're not crunching and going through hell. This is a common theme. A friend, collaborator at the brought up that LMFAO of every day they're shuffling. It's all party rock in the house tonight. That they're an uncle nephew duo, and I didn't fucking know that.
That's really cool.
And then what happened was they pulled up a picture of LMFAO and they said, which one's the uncle? And I didn't fucking know. And please, at home, and this is how this spirals out. Oh shit. In the absence of a crunch or a deadline, this conversation continued for a fucking while. I would encourage all the viewers at home to look up a picture of LMFAO and try and parse out which one is the uncle and which one is the nephew. I guarantee this is like goldfish better at trading stocks than people level of you can't fucking tell. And then we pulled up the entire family tree and realized that some things are better left unknown. I felt better before I saw the entire LMFAO family tree, and then I got scared. And so that's why you need deadlines, and that's why crunch is good. It stops you from doing shit like that.
Hope this helps.
I don't know how to pronounce your name. Kuresi, I'm sorry, asks.
Ooh. I'm not even reading it, and now it's bad.
There's like accents over the letters, and one of them...
Oh, that's how you know he's racist.
I was for like 2 seconds there while I was saying your name, and I apologize. Asks, any new favorite piece of software you started using recently? Because I actually have an answer for this one.
Are you going to bring up that File Explorer alternative, File Pilot?
I'm going to bring up the fucking File Explorer because I can't.
Yeah.
Well, you first, okay?
I mean, I was also going to say File Pilot.
File Pilot. How the fuck? I can't. Here's the thing, is that it's such a bland, uninteresting piece of software on its face.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's a File Explorer. But I need you to know, it made me want to pay $30 for a File Explorer. And you're not like... thinking of a different thing. Yeah, like a replacement for Windows fucking Explorer. You can download a beta for free on the website. It's like 3 megabytes.
It's just, what if File Explorer was not abysmal dog shit? Imagine if you could find a file and that was it. Imagine if your computer was fast. Imagine if your fucking 2025 computer was fast and everything that you wanted to happen just happened instantly. And it wasn't built in React Native. Fuck me. Yeah, it's really good, and it also, again, you can download the beta if you don't believe that you will get excited about a fucking File Explorer. But if you're a creative person, like, God, I had to stop using it because like other programs don't use it for like exporting, importing like pop-up menus. Yeah. So
dude,
the inconsistencies started to become a real pain in the ass, but
I have a friend who started trying to figure out like if he could hack the registry in Windows to like make it interface with File Explorer instead of Explorer.exe.
That would be so good.
Yeah,
that would be so good.
It might be a fucking built-in feature. I genuinely don't know. I've not fully explored this program because of what it is. But yeah, I don't know. There's so much friction and the bullshit that we kind of passively accept because it's just the environment that we're in. And
because I thought that that's just how things had to be.
Yeah. Dude, there can be a better world out there.
Wow.
All it takes is for like some fucking person to dedicate all of their time to being like, no, File Explorer. That's where I'm fucking staking my flag.
Who would win? Microsoft or some fucking guy?
Well, it's interesting because like part of the problem is also, you could argue like the organization of Microsoft as a corporation makes it impossible for them to do stuff like that. But it shouldn't be anyway.
Yeah.
This is the whole other thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hope that answers your question.
Yeah.
File Pilot.
Okay.
Look it up.
File Pilot. Okay. And then on the Patreon that you can you do, and I know. Bowens asks, in the interest of bag gear, is there ever a point where Final V3 gets such a large audience that either of you will hesitate to put out episodes?
What?
So this,
Why?
I think, is a response to the thing that we talked about regarding our nervousness and skittishness around fucking up and getting things wrong and like putting out bad information, and how I try to like go over the episode to make sure that there's nothing that fucks up. And part of the equation that we put forth was like, you know, the potential impact that you can have, positive and negative, is partially a function of your audience size. So like as your audience size goes up, your responsibility also goes up to at least like make a good faith effort to not fuck up.
Well, ideally, like the reason that we're holding ourselves to the standard that we are, even though our audience is relatively small, comparatively speaking, is because we want that to scale up, and the size of the audience shouldn't factor into whether or not we are true.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Not really a factor, at least in my mind.
Yeah. When we're fucking selling out our Final V3 arena tour, I'll look around.
Whenever we sell the IP.
When we sell the IP and they get two other guys who don't know each other, oh, that'll be great.
When they get two other white guys, one who made a game at some point in his life and one who has a YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. Really, really slim pickings out here.
That'll be when we start
this is
looking
the
and
niche
going
that
like,
we
I
fill.
don't know. I don't know if they should put that out. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, yeah, in short, we're trying to hold ourselves to a standard that makes that not an issue. Never Dreams asks, I've been floating the idea of making a personal blog for a long time, but my biggest mental roadblock is the idea of hating whatever I write after the fact over time. Any advice for overcoming this?
Grow up.
Yeah, okay. So this is the thing. Is like this is the one lens that I would actually offer, is that if it is like a personal blog and you're doing stuff that you care about, all of the flaws in what you're doing become texture. Like if you're trying to do something that's like mass appeal corporate product, then like all the flaws are just problems that are, issues to the market. But if you're making something that's really personal, that's just a way that you like to spend your time, you will look back on the stuff that you're making and you will see the problems with it and you will think, this is a perfect thing. This is a perfect and honest reflection of exactly where I was at the time that I made it. And so in that way, there's really nothing wrong with it.
Or you'll be very insecure and you'll look back on it in a year or two and you're going to be like, oh my God, I was so stupid. I must scrub the internet of this. And you need to not listen to that voice. Unless you're racist, then you can get rid of it. But generally speaking, like, unless
you'll look back on that
shit,
and you'll go, this is a perfectly honest representation of exactly who I was at the time.
Yeah. I mean, this is something I could speak to directly, is like, maybe not the racism part, but
right.
Like, I've absolutely looked back at stuff I've made like 5, 6, 7 years ago and been like, oh, this is a pretty honest a representation of where I was at, and I don't want anyone to see it.
Yeah.
and yeah, like if you want to know why a couple really old videos are unlisted, that's probably why.
Yeah,
and that's fine. But the difference is that it was insecurity when I made those choices, but nowadays it's just because like I don't like the version of myself that I put out there, and I think it would be I don't like the things that I was saying or the way that I was saying them. If you've changed, then and you don't want, and you're talking about things you care about and you don't agree with them anymore, and you think that those things can reach people, then that is a reason to pull them down. There are plenty. This is just one of a myriad of reasons that you can go back to old stuff that you don't necessarily identify with anymore and take it down. It's your choice. But at the end of the day, I think what I'm trying to get to with this in an extremely roundabout and inefficient manner is that it's not a guarantee that when you look back at the material you're making now that you're going to feel the way that Sam describes. Sam is describing the ideal, perfect way to look back on it, but it's hard to get there. And if you're struggling to even start right now, I have my doubts as to whether or not it will be easy to just look back at your work in a little bit and be like, the old times. How quaint.
I'm describing a problem of creativity. You're describing a problem of like function.
I mean, those two concepts are holding hands and kissing.
Because the other thing is that, like, one, you can always take it down. Two, you also don't have to put it out in any specific way that makes it.
Yeah, you can just do it for yourself and put it nowhere. I mean,
or like yourself and your friends. Like there are Discord servers I'm in where people will do write-ups of things they care about, and they will drop it in the Discord server, and everyone in the Discord server will read it and talk about it, and it's just like an in-friend group thing that people are doing because they value each other's thoughts. And it doesn't have to go up anywhere. It doesn't have to live forever. But it's a good thing to do. And I'm valuing that a lot more with time than just having to dump everything into the fucking, chasm of the
not
air.
everything you make has to be like for a faceless, nameless audience of an unknowable number of people.
Yeah.
So if you haven't already thought about this, you should think about why you're making this and who you want to make it for. And once you've finished your homework and shown your work, I would say that, I mean, you should just fucking do it because nothing ever gets done if nothing ever starts. And yeah, I mean, getting over the hump of like wanting to start it in the first place is tough, but one of the ways you can get through that is just by starting it and then not posting it. That's fine. That's how a lot of projects start. We started this podcast that way.
Yeah, there's several recordings that we did, and then we decided that was no good, and then or that wasn't what we wanted it to be, and we stopped. But we also never would have gotten to this point as the greatest podcasters with billions of fans, and we're about to like sell the brand to these two guys that approached us. But we never would have gotten here if we didn't go through the motions of trying and fucking it up. And yeah, I mean, I have more shit that I can offer in terms of like specific examples of projects that I eventually released but held back at the time because there was something personal in it for me. Like finishing something and releasing it are two different things, and I think people flatten that.
Yeah.
Like the Clippy video, I held back for a year to the point where I lost all the original project files and had to upload a hacked up draft because I finished it and then I wasn't ready at the time to put it out.
Yeah.
There was like more stuff in it that was too personal to me. And I mean, when it comes to just Roadblocks creativity generally, I do two things really consistently. One, I name every single file test. I just to mentally convince myself fucking around. Like any project that I've finished in the last couple of years, the file name was test. And the other thing is I try to measure the amount of time that I'm spending.
It sounds really efficient and easy to find things and organize them.
It ends with the word test. Usually there's like some keyboard mashing or other organization before that. But yeah, and the second thing is just I try to measure my creative output, not in terms of like specific things that I'm trying to get to, because like starting from nothing and ending with like a finished game or a finished video is like, that's impossible. But what you can do is start from nothing and spend 15 minutes fucking around, spend 30 minutes fucking around. Like I try to measure the amount of time that I'm spending fucking around on something, and that usually gets me through the roadblock, because it's, you don't know what you're doing when you start, and you don't know what you're doing until you start doing it. There's no like place to start.
Yeah, an extremely important thing. I mean, like this is what one of the most common reasons that people don't start shit is because they're afraid it's gonna suck, which is stupid. Because it will suck, and you have to get past that, or it'll never get good.
Yeah,
like again, this is why it's okay to not put it out anywhere. It will take time, and that's fine. You have to start though, or it will never not be shit, because it won't be.
You should start and then leave more
report
Patreon
back in a
questions.
Year.
Yeah, report back on the Patreon and ask us
why did you give all that awful advice? Their pledge.
Now they have to maintain their pledge. That's how you fucking do it.
That's how you get them.
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate your support. You can tell us how awful all our advice.
You know,
was.
Patreon has like a yearly like a yearly discount thing now. You should check that out.
Yeah, let's just can we okay, we're past the point of monetizing our own creativity. Now we got to figure out how to monetize everyone else's creativity for us.
Oh my god, you're so fucking true.
Strange creature of unknown origin on the YouTube channel. I'm going to start saying it all disappointed if they don't give us money. Considering the number of strange creature of unknown origin asks, considering the number of game devs who listen to the podcast, would you ever consider using the platform?
He restarted because he was worried about whether or not he was worried about making that joke and it staying in. Billy, I want you to keep it in.
Can you double it?
Yeah.
Considering the number of game devs who listen to the podcast, would you ever consider using your platform to help promote smaller solo projects made by people in your audience if they were to reach out? Also, generally, what are your thoughts on getting a personal project out there in the current climate? Those are two separate questions.
Wow, yeah, this really could. Let's focus on the first one first, because this is going to go places, I think.
Yeah. I'm curious for your take first.
So,
because we have talked about this. Personally.
Yeah.
The answer is it's really fucking hard.
I have a lot of thoughts about this. Honestly, one of the things that I don't think a lot of people think about whenever it comes to platforming smaller creators is the fact that it is a little risky sometimes if you don't know anything about the person. Because platforming a stranger, even devoid of the fact that I'm co-signing something, it's like, well, if this person turns out to be a fucking neo-Nazi or something, then I have just put a lot of eyes on this person. So, like, before I really think about, platforming something, there is a degree of research that goes into like an online footprint check about the person, because this happens. It happens a lot. Secret Hitlers are all over the place, man.
Yeah. But
so that's one thing. Another is that finding those projects and cultivating a space where people can share things that they're working on is really hard and requires a lot of very active maintenance and upkeep, and that's very time consuming. This is something that Sam and I have talked about a lot, and it's the reason that we still don't have a Discord server and maybe never will.
It's tough because it is difficult for a lot of weird reasons, and also in part because if you do it too much, people will get sick of it and not go to any of the projects, so you need some selection criteria. But at the same time, like, it has to happen in the ecosystem for small work to thrive, and for people, there's rungs of the ladder before you get to critical acclaim and everyone loves you, or even just like basic support, basic ability to support yourself.
There's a real evil catch-22, and this is something I've been grappling with a lot, very consciously, with the video I'm making right now about indie shooter games, which is that if ever we were to do something like this with Final V3, it would be a lot easier because the people who are listening here have an inherent interest in the creative process. And so it's a lot easier to suggest to people who listen to this that, like, hey, here's a project that's a little rough around the edges, or, extremely rough. It's only rough. This is a sandpaper project, but it's interesting.
Yeah.
There is things going on, even if it's not, something that I could easily recommend to someone who just wants to casually consume a piece of media and like it. Y'all are probably going to be receptive to something like that. If I'm making a main channel video, not so much. If I recommend a thing, it has to be good.
Can I needle on your phrasing on that a little bit?
Yeah, go for it.
So I think the thing you're getting at is it's not about good or bad, because those words are weird, but it's like worth attention. Mass appeal and worth attention are not
that's
are
a
not
good.
Okay, I'm glad we.
But because worth attention to who,
exactly. This is the thing, right? Is because people often ask the question of like, why don't we have more institutions supporting niche art, like niche small creators that are just getting their start? Why don't we have?
Because it's inherently niche.
Yeah,
because money comes from lots of people.
Almost every game journalism institution swing that has been made, where they're like, we're going to focus on small independent creators exclusively, and we're going to give them all the love and all the attention, becomes very insular because and often dies because there's just not as much money in that space as there is talking about Call of Duty. And you can't exactly drive the majority of the Call of Duty audience if you want to start uplifting small creators onto like more mainstream platforms. Like, if it's not a fit vibes wise, a lot of that attention is going to go nowhere, and you're going to end up with a bunch of pissed off or apathetic people who are just like, why are we talking about this weird Game Boy exclusive game about this person's personal relationships?
Right.
Which fucking sucks, because this is an ecosystem problem that we're talking about more than like an issue with any given actor in it. Because the problem is that we're actually trying to solve is people need attention and eyes on their work so that they can participate creatively, but also so they can afford to sustain themselves.
Exactly. No one starts out by making a masterpiece, but they have to be enabled to hone their craft in order to make something that could be a huge hit later down the line. And we just don't really have a lot of systems in place, especially in video games, to support that kind of thing. It's a very do or die environment right now in quite a lot of ways. It's sink or swim is a better. Excuse me.
I don't fully agree with that, because there's a lot of moral support, and there are a lot of communities of people doing some of the most interesting shit that you can imagine right now. The problem,
moral support doesn't put food on the table.
Yeah. Which also limits like who can be an artist and stuff. So like when we're talking about, the benefit of this podcast is that it is actually creatively focused, so we can trust, like, a main channel video could not recommend this for you, could not recommend the same stuff that you could recommend people spend their time on here.
Right.
Because of the audience difference.
Proof is anywhere you look. I have seen plenty of YouTube channels attempt to show off stuff that is not necessarily actually like whatever you want to call it, large scale mass appeal.
Yeah, massive.
Just like dinky ass rough projects that have more interesting than fun stuff going on and are more interesting to dissect and think about than actually engage with on a surface level. Off the top of my head, I can think of No Clip Crew, Super Bunny Hop, Extra Credits are all channels that at some point during their long histories have made videos platforming games that are not necessarily, crowd pleasing, quote unquote, good commercially viable games, however you want to quantify it. They're fucking rough. They're like first time swings from people. Maybe it was sent to them in their email. Maybe they just came across it and it has like 10 reviews on Steam. And I love videos like that. But they never do as well as the hidden gem you've never played. And it's like, it's got 5,000 plus reviews on Steam. And it's like overwhelmingly positive. Like, it's already outdone itself, and like more often than not, it's like, oh, it's this thing is already doing really well, but it's an easy sell because it's so like those kind of videos will always inherently do better, and so it can be very, very, very difficult to carve out a space for the other shit. I'm blanking again, but you get what I'm trying to say, right?
Well, yeah, and all of that is more applies to your main channel than here. To which the answer that I would give in terms of like
even second channel stuff, it would be easier. It's just like the higher the stakes are, the safer you kind of have to play it sometimes. And my main channel is where I make a living, so I can't really afford to focus on stuff that is less likely to be crowd pleasing in that way for an extended period of time, especially because if people go in with the wrong expectations and then those expectations are not met, if they want to just put on a game, relax and have a good time, and instead this weird fucking thing challenges the hell out of them and they're not having a good time because it's not what they expected, and they could, in some cases, they could fairly say that it fucking sucks, then they're going to get mad at me too, and some poor fucking developer. So it's tough.
Yeah, as far as the original source question, also it would be really funny to drive a bunch of people to something that's really alienated by telling them that it's just a good hang. But as far as considering using this platform specifically to help promote smaller solo projects made by people in the audience if they were to reach out, considering, yes, I definitely also have been thinking about, especially when it comes to figuring out how best to use the Patreon, trying to use, that's the closest thing that we have to a Discord server in terms of like an enclosed habitat, trying to like throw interesting niche recommendations and shit into there for interested people is something that I've thought about. And then there's like other challenges with promotion specifically, but like we think about it a lot, and part of the reason that we haven't done it, at least part of the reason for me that we haven't done it, is just like it's a lazy developer. I have a lot of other figuring out the best way to go about doing that skirts a lot of the issues is tough. The ideal situation is that the listeners of the podcast can support each other and we don't have to fully grab onto that and be the arm, but we don't. Again, Discord server, we're purposely holding back a little bit on that community organizing spaces, but
that's dangerous too. If a community left unguided can go in very unpredictable places, and sometimes it's really fucking funny, and sometimes it's horrible.
Yeah, which is part of why we're not touching that at the moment.
Yeah,
again, considering is a good word for it.
Or it could just fizzle out and die. That's what usually happens, but
And the second half of the question, I can't believe you're getting all this airtime without having been on the Patreon. I can't fucking believe that. The market rate is plummeting.
I mean, I'm just going to be honest. You owe us money at this point.
You do not owe us money. None of our listeners owe us money.
You actually like.
We just really like it.
It's piracy.
Dude, this is thought piracy. Holy shit.
Wow, thought piracy.
Second half of the question was also good. It's their fault for asking a good question, which is like, what are your thoughts on getting a personal product out there in the current climate?
No, it's their fault for not paying us.
But yeah, like the last little tagline on that sentence, that I'd only want my stuff promoted if the person promoting it thinks it deserves more attention, which is like, again, it's like, yeah, it's like space by space. It depends on where there is that you're trying to get your project out. Because again, like deserves attention is contextual depending on where you are entering it, like which is one of the problems with like the black hole of social media pulling everything into the same place, because deserves attention.
Social media commentary. Let's get it. Podcast time. It's
not social media commentary. It's like marketing commentary, because if you want to get a project out there generally, oh yeah, even worse. What you want to do, what they always say is like, you got to start a conversation. It has to be a conversation starter, which is like,
it's true and it sucks.
Yeah, the other way that I've put it, and like this has always been true before social media, and we've talked about this before, where like if you can make something that there's something to say about, and when I say make something, I ain't talking about the art, I'm talking about the tweet, that generally works. Outside of that, if you're more interested in like the local side, which we have not talked about as much, there are plenty of large Discord servers where people do intentionally try to pool a lot of creative people around a common interest. Like I know like Wholesome Games has a Discord server, and like if you're making a game that falls into that category, there's a bunch of people in there who are just developing games that fall into that, and you can talk about the stuff that you're making in there.
And on the animation side, you have things like animation collabs, reanimated projects, stuff like that.
Depending on your definition of out there are different ways, and if you don't know exactly what out there means to you, is worth thinking about where you want your art to go and why, and then continually re-ask that question your entire career, lest you fall into the Twitter artist burnout pipeline, where you lose sight of that which you hold most dear. So, an omen for you.
Yes.
Good luck. We're going back on the Patreon because I feel like we just got robbed. OJ McMuffins
you feel like
asks,
it. I'm just saying it happened.
OJ McMuffins asks a loaded question. How on earth do y'all balance all this work with your personal lives?
Oh, because I'm so fucking awesome and sexy, and I just like I just kind of like do 10 push-ups every morning, and then like I don't know, it just kind of comes naturally.
Yeah, no, exactly. Well, it's like I've realized something, because this is like probably if this is something that I'm actually going to talk about, it's like more personal than a lot of the more abstract questions, because the answer is that like it fucking depends on the phase of life that you're talking about. Because for a while I just didn't.
I mean, for me, it's just I don't do a good job.
Yeah,
there's your honest answer. It's chaos. Oh, it's chaos out here.
And for me, like my quote unquote like early career successes came in large part because I was approaching things in a super unhealthy way that prioritized work above all else, and then I paid the consequences for that later.
The classic.
And so I think this is something that I'm trying to make a good, honest effort to do more. And a lot of it is just really basic life shit, like trying to drop some anchors in my week that can't move, because when you make your whole career creative, everything becomes fluid in this way that becomes unmanageable and stressful, at least to me.
If I can pull a real podcastism on you here, everyone copes in different ways. So your solution will not be anyone else's solution necessarily.
Yeah, like as for me, I am, just fucking signing up to take weird classes that are at, set dates and times, and that gets me talking to people and learning more weird shit. Not like college classes, but like fucking drumming lessons, fucking acrobatic trapeze stunt bullshit.
That offer to do a Zoom call with my dad still open.
That would be really funny and not get me out of the house, but it would also be really funny. So it's like, 6 on one hand, half a dozen on the other. I'll think about it.
Podcast episode wherever we just record him teaching you.
God, that would be really funny. That would be really funny.
We're not doing that.
Dude, next April.
Yeah, okay, we're maybe.
But yeah, I also had this realization that, oh my God, like a lot of my friends, and this is not a call out, but a lot of my friends who are creative are struggling with the same things. And that means that like the gravity of my friend groups is to struggle with that thing. And so I'm trying to like anchor myself as I'm like dropping shit in my week. I'm making more friends with people who have like normal sleep schedules and are focused on themselves.
I'm trying to meet some fucking normal people. I'm spending all my time around test tube specimens. So,
dude, I'm in the lab fucking every morning. It smells like shit. But yeah, the answer is like we are trying, but it is tough because every once in a while, like some shit will come up that you just can't avoid, and this is a precarious career, as lucky as we are to have it.
Listener, if you can even comprehend the concept of life getting in the way of things, that's the kind of high concept stuff that we talk about here on Final V3.
No. I'm talking about I'm not talking about life getting in the way of work, because that's just constant. I'm talking about because of the specific shape of this career, like you will, at least I will get random crazy deadline thing that just I have to push everything by the wayside and do that. And again, that's not like a creative career exclusive thing, but because of like the specific precarity of this career,
that's a self-control thing.
No, I'm talking about externally imposed, not like battling my internal demons.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Because again, like to that extent, the only thing to say is how do you balance the work with your personal lives when the demons win? I haven't.
Right.
And I often don't, and I'm trying to fix that. Julian has watched the demons win repeatedly. I have talked in the past about how sometimes when I'm battling a really fucking difficult problem, I will just simply decide I'm not going to go to sleep until I've solved this problem. And that will take me until 10:30 a.m. the next morning. And that's a fucking problem. It's also fun. But sometimes in moderation. But yeah, I don't know.
It's crazy how much I just don't agree with you.
Yeah, well, it's what did you say earlier? Everyone copes differently.
I guess so.
But yeah, I don't know. Fucking.
I was about to make a dark joke before I just realized that. Yeah, I was gonna joke about coping mechanisms before realizing that no, those are just bad. Like you could just there are bad ones. It's not a joke. It's real.
Here's the one last thing that I will say, because we could have stopped it there, but the one last thing that I will say from personal experience is that if you're interested in balancing work with your personal life, if you're working on projects where everything falls on you, where you will be the bottleneck of everything happening in it, that's going to come into conflict way the fuck more than if you don't. Mm-hmm. Because that's just a recipe for creating the situation where you just have to throw yourself into the work at the expense of everything else. Sometimes you just don't have the option to not do that, especially early career, which is not good, but try to avoid it. How do you balance all this work with your personal lives? Thank you.
If there's one thing I can impart on you, it's that you must separate work and leisure. You have to, in any and every way you can. This is especially important for someone like me, wherever my fun time often becomes my work time and vice versa. And so physical separation, if you can set up an office or just like a separate room. Mental separation, if you're doing everything on the same computer, setting up a work account on your computer and a gaming account on your computer or whatever else. Having dedicated spaces digitally is huge. Giving yourself a set amount of time that you will or will not be doing work or leisure is really fucking important. The more structure you can give yourself, at least for me, this is what works best, is just forcing myself arbitrarily to adhere to goals that I have set up in order to try and keep things in balance. So whatever that looks like for you is something that you should really be actively thinking about. Otherwise, you will, like so many of my friends, always be working and feel guilty when you're not working. Or, like me, never get any fucking work done and feel guilty for never working.
Yeah. Or don't. Let the wind be at your back. Awesome, God be with you. God be with you. Yeah. God be with you.
Dude, drive on the street, close your eyes. God, it has this.
For one more question, we're throwing it back to the people from the non-Patreon, from the
pirates.
The pirates. Mason CO4 asks, what are the projects that both of you are least proud of and are most proud of, respectively? You talked about this a little bit earlier.
Man, spoiled for choice. Where to begin? Anything spring to mind for you?
I'm racking my brain, honestly.
Wow. We're going to have a little duality to close us off. This is fun.
Yeah.
See, mine's a process of curation.
If I'm not putting words in your mouth, you believe that some of your videos have like harmed the world materially by having those ideas go out there. Where
I don't know if I'd go that far. I don't know if I'd go that far, but I would approach that level.
Yeah. Whereas like most of my stuff that I wouldn't think is, my old work, I don't really think has that angle or never really reached the velocity required for me to give a shit about that. So I get to just look back on it and be like, oh, that's like a neat creative work.
Yeah.
Or like, that sucks, but that's where I was.
Yeah.
So I guess that counts, and I'm also struggling to think of those too.
Oh, man.
Hit us with the highlights. Final V3.
In July of 2018, I made a video about why cinematic games are awesome, actually, and people who say that they're not are stupid. And it's just fucking moronic and incredibly bad
faith. What is cinematic game?
That's a great question I don't answer.
Oh, that rules. Getting your sea legs.
Yeah. Trial by stupid.
And
true. Then
that's a really good turn of phrase, actually. Have you literally pulled up your fucking like list of unlisted videos?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
In September of that same year, I'm gonna. This is the first time I've said this. It's not embarrassing because I'm not that person anymore. But
right,
man, it was so fucking stupid. I was playing Hollow Knight at the time, and I really liked it. For reasons that I didn't entirely understand yet. Still trying to figure it out. And it put me onto Metroidvanias. And so I was like, people say that Metroid Prime is good. I'll go and play that one. And I didn't like it very much. I found it very obtuse and old schooly. And so in my mind, conflicted those two things into... this is why Hollow Knight's fucking awesome, and Metroid Prime. Sorry, not Metroid Prime, Super Metroid, or whatever the one on the SNES is, whatever.
Got it. Okay, I was.
Yeah, no, not Prime. The SNES Metroid game. I conflated that into. This is why Hollow Knight's fucking awesome, and this beloved classic, adored by everyone and considered an all-timer, kind of fucking sucks. Actually, also, I only played like a fifth of it.
Guys, this is why Super Mario Wonder is fucking awesome, and Mario Brothers Original for the NES is kind of dog shit, actually.
Yeah. What were they thinking?
What were they fucking thinking about? Why? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Wow, that's fascinating.
I am amazed that has like a 92% liked to dislike ratio. It deserves 100% dislikes. That video is so fucking bad.
Guys, if you like that video and it's in your history, now's your chance to take it back.
Hey, it's unlisted. It's unlisted, not privated. If you have the link, you can watch it. Go for it, man. It's just
take your like back.
It's unlisted because I don't want new people seeing it.
Yeah.
I mean, I interviewed Marty O'Donnell. Oops. we didn't know back then. Yeah. He's in the Crunch video. There's a bit of irony there. Shame, because I do like that video overall, but them is the ropes, as they say. Fucking those are the big ones. I've made plenty more mistakes. There's a lot of really stupid fucking things I've said in videos, but those are the ones that I can. Okay, and to a lesser extent, Halo Anniversary, I would also say, is pretty rough because I was cheating off of Aaron Hansen's sequelitis, just copying off his homework in terms of structure, but I did the gamer thing wherever I personified developers as an amorphous studio rather than the video game as a anthropomorphized object, And so it felt more real, like I was directing vitriol at human beings rather than an object, which is not a thing you should do. Especially when you have a platform.
Yeah.
I made a lot of stupid mistakes.
Yeah. And then as for me, in third grade, we had this like photography project where we all went out with cameras and they had a strap. And what I did was I just let the camera drop around my neck, and I noticed it lined up right below my waist, and I was like, that's the perspective that I'm going to use for all my photos. And they took my camera away.
I see where this is going.
Yeah. So not my best work. Not my best. Is that a place
Thanks,
to
man.
end it?
Thanks. Yeah, sure. Fuck it. Ended there.
There's plenty of stuff that I think is not that excellent by the standards of what I would make, but I'm still proud of those things for what I was trying to do at the time.
I would never say that I'm proud of the videos that I listed. Like I'm just not anymore. I have outgrown those in every way.
Thank you again to our $14 tier patrons: Wibbs, Sad Toffee Sucks, Carp, Spicy Nacho, Tom Keeley, John Purdy, Harrison Oakley, Daxtery, Commander Cyrus, Drew McIntosh, EXE Bill, Chulump the Big Money Wizard, Samuel Danver Platts, OJ McMuffin, Leon Kive, Holly Buxa, Wormy, TJ, Lucky the Proto, Combustible Mon, The Darkened Rose, Denji, Trading Bark, Mark D. Hero, Woody the Entertainer, Tobin, Never Dreams, Nessie, and Cosmo. Thank you guys so much again. We would not be able to do it without y'all's support.